I think if you work with most branding companies, you're going to end up with some brand guidelines. But there was a whole journey before that ended up with a brand brief, and it just downloads so much of who we are in a succinct, very direct way, and almost cathartic in a funny way. But it really was. It was like, oh yeah, this is who we are, you know.
Hey guys, Rebrands here, CEO and founder of Branding for the People, and I want to welcome you to another interview series that I'm doing with one of our private clients, Williamsburg Learning. I'm meeting with the CMO Adam Hailstone, CMO of Williamsburg Learning, a company that's dedicated to transformational learning for students in K-12 education and personal and family empowerment. So welcome, Adam. Thanks for joining.
Yes, no problem. This is great. We're huge fans of Branding for the People at Williamsburg, so I love it. Thanks for having me.
But I like to start with, what was the problem that you were looking to solve prior to branding?
Yeah, great question. There's really kind of at least two, maybe three big problems that we needed to solve at the time. One was our brand was just simply a logo that someone designed for us. But that design in particular was a design that seemed to fit what we thought education had, kind of the pillars look, type feel to it that so many schools and so many education companies have. So it didn't really represent us. It represented what we thought the market or a company like ours should look like, right? And B, we also sort of evolved a lot in the first 5 years of our organization. And because we evolved a lot, that brand even more so didn't fit who we are, what we're about, why we do what we do. And so we kind of discovered who we were over those 5 years. And then when we met at a conference and learned about Branding for the People, it just clicked that we needed not only to rebrand, but to refresh how we're doing our marketing and who our target market is, and we were able to go through all of that with Branding for the People to really clarify, who we are and who our customers are and how we want to interact with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Because you said it's sort of like, it's about creating that perception to the people that you want to attract. I remember actually, I think the old branding had sort of like a colonial pen kind of.
It did. Yeah.
Okay. So, consider it the right timing. We obviously met at a conference where I was speaking. Maybe it was right timing, or maybe the timing on both ends, but there's a lot of branding choices. I know it was really clear for you, but I know that there's a lot of branding choices, resources, agencies that you could have worked with. What was it that chose you to work with Branding for the People?
Yeah, it was, and looking back, the big difference maker for us was your process. It was a clear, well thought out process that didn't pigeonhole us into anything that you wanted us to be, but really helped us define and discover, who we are and who we are as a brand. And that was, it really was a sort of a transformational process for us, because even though we had evolved, sometimes you just don't know you don't have the words or the ability or even the colors to describe, or the understanding of branding to describe really who you are and who you want to personify to your customers. I think if you work with most branding companies, or most, companies that have at least a branch that does this, you're going to end up with some brand guidelines. Brand guidelines that we got from you guys, fantastic, great. But there was a whole journey before that ended up with a brand brief that we still use in our training. In fact, I'm hiring someone this week, and we will be walking them through that same brand brief that we created, right? And it just downloads so much of who we are in a succinct, very direct way. The process to get there was quite thorough, really useful. And almost cathartic in a funny way, but it really was. It was like, oh yeah, this is who we are, Yes. So we learned not only who our customer avatar, for example, is, our target market is.
Yes.
We really learned kind of what our avatar is as well, and then how to personify that. Not just brand guidelines, like stick within these guidelines and you'll be fine. No, it's like the why, all of the why behind why the guidelines are the way they are.
Right. That's awesome. I love that. So you mentioned sort of cathartic. It was like catharsis. It was comprehensive. Would you say, for some people, they're a little scared going through the branding process. Was there something that was like fun or revealing or insightful about that process? Is there anything that you could say around that? Because it is comprehensive. It's intense.
Yeah, it is comprehensive. It's intense. It's more than you would normally expect by just, putting together some brand guidelines. But it really was fun. It was cathartic, and it was, how every sort of How to Win Friends, Influence People type book will tell you to, if you're wanting to make friends, talk, be interested in who they are. Well, everyone likes to talk about themselves, right?
That's right.
As a company, we like to discover who we really are. And we discovered it in deeper ways, more fundamental ways at the time I didn't fully understand how that would affect the ultimate logo and brand guidelines and all of those things, but really personified that once all of that came out. So there was just a deeper level of trust in the end as well, of like, we really nailed this because we did the homework. We really nailed this because we went through the process to really discover who we are, discover who our customers are, and how we can serve them, which clarifies your brand so much more. We have a fairly unique brand look now that we love. And we love telling the story of our logo. We love telling why we are the way we are, and it just clarified so much. It kind of fast forwarded our marketing. And 4 years.
And definitely want to touch upon that, because you've had some amazing results and outcomes as a result of the rebrand. But something I want to ask you that's specific to you and to your business, but also like a handful of a lot of the small businesses that I work with and organizations that I work with, is a lot of times they involve multiple people in the process. And sometimes it helps to get everyone on the same page. Was there any of that for you? Like, was there some added benefit of having 3 or 4 people in the brand creation process?
Yes. Yeah. You get multiple perspectives, you get multiple takes. We had lots of different iterations of what we were going for. We frankly, it was very easy for us to have a lot of ideas, and we're a team that is very passionate about what we do in the education space. We also have kind of a classical liberal arts background. And so we were pulling stuff from Greek mythology, and, we were kind of throwing all this different stuff at you guys, and having your team there to support us, to think it through, to clarify, to sort of whittle a lot of our ideas down was really beneficial.
I love that. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so let's go there. So a lot of times people are afraid of like, well, will this work for me? Will this work for my business? Or branding is sort of like, one day, someday activity. What are some of the tangible outcomes or outcomes in general that Williamsburg Learning has been able to receive as a result of the branding process that we went through?
Yeah. Big changes. First of all, we went from a company that sort of outwardly, I think, appeared like we were, fitting the space, but sort of like just kind of small time is kind of like maybe the best way.
Like a sort of another Me Too brand, or you just kind of like hit all the basics.
Yeah. We hit the basics, and we just kind of seemed generic. Internally, emotionally for us, we felt like we were small time. We felt like we were not mature. You know what I mean? It just, and so, literally what I do in part for our company is I'm also our evangelist. So I travel the country and I speak at lots of different conferences, and just switching our brand and everything that we represented to our customers from one year to the next, going literally to the same conferences the following year. It was like we were magnetic the following year. It was just a massive change, right? Because everything stood out now, everything that we did. And there was also an internal confidence that sort of came from that we know who we are, who we're serving, and therefore we could show up in a different way to every conference, to every meeting, to every, everything that we were doing. So, since then we've attracted dozens of new partnerships, throughout the country. We've almost tripled in size in that time period. Meanwhile, this, you might be mad at me for saying this, but in some ways that branding process and helping us discover exactly who we were also made us realize that some of our older clients really didn't work with us. And we realized, and it was really helpful for us to realize, that they were wasting time, energy, progress, trying to just be what they kind of wanted us to be instead of who we really are. You know what I mean? So we wasted a lot of time with those clients. So we ended up cutting a very large client. And despite that, it's still tripled in size in the last 5 years. You know what I mean? And so, anyway, it was such a good process for us to go through to really discover who we are so that we could have that confidence going forward and be the brand that we really are and needed to be.
Actually, and I'm actually not upset that you said that, because that is a perfect response. I believe that a brand, once you get clear on who you are and who you're not, it allows you or enables you to attract the people that you want to attract and also repel the ones that you don't. And that applies not only just to the students that you're attracting, right? But the parents. It's really more the psychographic profile, but also the partners. And oftentimes when there's a phrase that I learned very early on, which is sometimes you have to let go of something of a lesser nature in order to allow something of a higher nature to come in. Yep. And that's what you just described is like, it's a beautiful representation of that. And that is really the power of like knowing your brand and owning it and standing in that. And you're not going to attract. Sometimes you have to have those hard conversations to let go of people who are not a real fit for you.
Yeah, so true. Like I can't remember who said it, but someone has said in the past, if you want to raise people's mindsets, don't give them the new mindset, give them a tool that requires them to have the new mindset, type. And that's exactly what branding for the people really did for us. Is even in that first year, while there was a lot of huge benefits, we've still been discovering new ways to leverage that brand and that branding process on our behalf, hugely useful. So
I love it. And just because it's such a great story, I don't know if you recall this, but you had shared way back when we finished the process, you had a stretch goal, I believe, to fill one of your summer programs. Mm. Do you recall that? It was like you had a stretch goal of filling the program within a few months, and I think you surpassed that. I think it was something like within a few weeks you sort of like filled your program.
There was such excitement behind our rebranding process, internally, and we wondered if that would come about externally. We do a series of different summer camps we call Elevation, and we had sort of expanded the capacity and size by double. So we went from 2 sessions to 4 sessions. We were able to fill that. We've been able to, fill our partner schools. We now, at one of our partner schools here in the state of Utah, where I live, we have a wait list of hundreds, you know what I mean, wanting to get into that school. And now we're working with the state to try to grow that cap because we have such a large wait list, we were able to really stretch into a lot of things. Meanwhile, still also, like I said, even losing a large customer, we didn't really miss a beat with that, right? Because it was shedding things that were real drag to us and able to even more so move into the space and the type of company that we want to be. And so we haven't missed a beat because of that. Like I said, we've tripled our growth in the last 5 years. So
I love that what you said. It's like giving people the tool to then sort of raise their mindset or raise their life or whatever that is. And so I'm glad that you're really using branding as a tool to help you in future successes. So there you have it. Thanks for your time, Adam. It's great to chat with you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.